Iruma Suzuki is a pitiful 14-year-old boy who lives on Earth, having the most useless parents on the planet who have forced him to do all their work ever since he was a child. He has never been allowed to attend school, have his own room, play with other kids, or have any kind of childhood. Instead, he cleaned the house, scrubbed toilets, and ran errands, and since his parents refused to do any type of work, he had to earn money by working in dangerous and harsh conditions. At his fishing job on the ship, he had a very cruel manager who treated him like crap. He was assigned the worst task of putting the fish back into the cages, but with his short height and twig-like hands, this already difficult task was made almost impossible. The rough sea rocked the sea back and forth and caused the cages to open and the tuna fish to start falling out. He's about to get crushed under them when he looks up and sees they've been frozen mid-air. He blinks and finds himself tied with a rope floating in front of a demon. His greedy scumbag parents had sold his soul to Sullivan, an old demon who had longed for a grandson of his own all his life. He takes him to the Netherworld, a dark and gloomy place inhabited only by demons. For years, it has been missing a demon king to rule over it, and many demons had started trying to guess who the next one to sit on the throne would be. Iruma is terrified and believes he is going to be tortured by him. But when they reach the mansion, he is surprised to find him on his knees, begging him to be his grandson. Iruma has always been a yes man and did not know how to refuse any requests. The old demon promised to fulfill all his wishes and treat him like a prince. After a lot of convincing, he agreed, and as the first gift, he announced he would be attending school with the other demon children. He also receives his own bedroom and a brand new school uniform. Sullivan cannot control his excitement and jumps all over the place. Before leaving, he dumps a special perfume on him so that the other demons don't recognize his human scent, and he doesn't get eaten. He arrives at school and follows the large crowd of students to the auditorium, where the enrollment ceremony will be held. The students rise and sing their school anthem together, after which the principal steps onto the stage. To Iruma's horror, it turns out to be his new grandfather, who announces to the whole school that he's his grandson. He is called onto the stage to give the first speech instead of Asmodeus, the genius freshman representative. His grandfather passes him a note which he starts reading out, unaware that it is a forbidden spell that is extremely dangerous to chant. He successfully completes the spell and is blessed with protection from tripping or falling the entire day. All the students and teachers cheer for him and are impressed by his talent, but Asmodeus, who specializes in fire magic, gets pissed off and challenges him to a fight in front of everyone. Before he has a chance to refuse, he is dragged to the school grounds and faces him. His difficult life has made him extremely reactive to situations, and he is able to dodge all of his attacks. When he pulls out his blazing sword, he slides out of the way, sending him straight towards a bunch of girls. He is about to fall, but his spell stops him from tripping, and he holds on to him, saving the girls and defeating him in the duel. After losing the fight, Asmodeus comes to him and pledges his lifetime loyalty to Iruma. After enjoying a breakfast feast, he heads to school, where the freshman rep has been waiting 6 hours for him. They are assigned the same training group and head to their first class, where they will be learning how to summon special beasts to be their subordinates, and based on the strength of their pets, they will be given a ranking. As they discuss the class, a terrifying teacher slams the doors open and walks in. He warns them not to misbehave or create any room for failure, since he would immediately get rid of them. Iruma trembles in fear as they watch an instructional video on how to perform the spell. He hands out the papers, and they start summoning their pets one by one. Asmodeus brings forth a giant high-ranking serpent, the strongest beast summoned by any of the students so far. Iruma steps up next, however, since he is secretly a human. He accidentally summons a demon instead of a beast, which happens to be his teacher. The strict teacher realizes he is not a demon, but since he gets stuck in the form of the summoned beast, he cannot rebel against Iruma and reveal his identity. His luck continues, and his classmates applaud him for being able to summon another demon as his pet. They head to the principal to try and reverse the spell, but since the contract lasts for a year, the teacher is stuck as his subordinate. Trying to undo the spell forcefully could kill them both. His reputation continues to grow around the school when a group of kids stand in his way. Asmodeus uses his beast to chase them away and clear a path for Iruma. They reach a room and hear a loud rumbling sound coming from inside it. A green ball flies in front of them and crashes into a pile of boxes. Clara, a green-haired demon, emerges from it and starts fixing the mess. She has been exiled for her immature behavior and is labeled a weirdo by everyone. She has a reputation for creating trouble wherever she goes and acting like a maniac. Asmodeus warns him not to get close to her since she would not be easy to get rid of, but when she repeatedly begs him to play with her and be her friend, he is unable to refuse, being the pushover that he is. The three of them spend the afternoon playing different games together. She shows them her magical pockets, which she can use to bring forth any item she has seen before. Indeed, a special woman who can make more than just a sandwich. She takes out different games and snacks for them. Aruma learns that many students in the school have been pretending to be friends with her just for the free snacks and drinks. She is aware of their evil nature, but continues to bribe them since she has no other way of making friends and believes Aruma is also friends with her just for the gifts. When she offers him more games and food, he refuses, and being the crybaby that she is, she throws a tantrum. However, he calms her down and tells her they can be friends even without the gifts. Her eyes sparkle and she jumps with joy. Just then, a group of boys call her and ask for some drinks, but she throws a vending machine at them and tells them to get lost. Aruma has begun enjoying school, and he spends all of his time hanging out with his two new friends. They go for lunch to the school cafeteria, where students can order lunch based on their academic ranking. Since the three of them are new, they have a very small list of options to choose from, but a group of seniors sends over large portions of food to their table to prank them. Asmodeus is about to pick a fight with them when he sees that he has already polished off all the food. He continues eating with supersonic speed, causing the chef to pass out from exhaustion. They hear a scream and see Clara being caught by the shopkeeper, who accuses her of shoplifting by replicating the items from his store. She has been banned from all the school stores but still keeps coming back. To deal with the chaos, Nabe storms into the cafeteria. He is the same loser teacher who Aruma had summoned as his pet. Clara starts poking and irritating him, and to stop her from her mischief and save the teacher, he turns him back into an owl. The shopkeeper unknowingly traps Nabe and keeps him at the shop as punishment for stealing. The three friends manage to get away from there quickly. Meanwhile, Sullivan, the principal, along with the other teachers, holds a meeting and decides to put Aruma, Asmodeus, and Clara into a separate class for misfit students. At school the next day, they are overjoyed to find out that they have been placed in the same class and follow a magical arrow. It leads them away from the school building into a dark cave that smells of rotting garbage. They climb down the stairs and see a decaying door with the sign danger in front of them. Aruma pulls it open and is pushed in by her. As soon as he takes a step, dangerous weapons shoot out from the walls, but his ability to dodge attacks saves him from them all. The other hopeless students inside, who had placed the traps as a prank, clap for him and are impressed by his skill. The big guy, let's call him Muscle Man, steps in front of the class to assert his dominance. Unlike Aruma, he had caught all the weapons and remained unharmed. He plans to train and become the next demon king of the Netherworld, the most powerful of all demons. He has picked fights with many teachers in the school to try and rise up the ranks. The boys engage in the usual showing off of egos and create a ruckus in class. Nabe enters the room. He has been assigned the misfit class for being absent after being caught by the shopkeeper. He puts a stop to the fights and begins taking the roll call. Their first lesson takes place in a dangerous valley of floating rocks. The students must race through the path set and withstand many challenges in this cutthroat environment. They whip out their wings and take off, but Aruma is pushed off without any safety. Most of the idiot students screw up their race from the very start by touching poisonous flowers and stealing bird eggs. Asmodeus uses his snake pet to burn the poisonous plants, but Clara runs into him and together they get caught up in a bunch of vines. After struggling to get out of there, he saves her from being eaten by the plant by using his fire magic. Aruma got lucky again and was saved from falling by some curious demon birds who carried him through the rocks. A loud sound scares the bird and he drops to the ground, landing in front of another giant bird that seems to be injured. He offers to help it by tying a cloth around its wound, but when a few drops of his blood fall onto the wound, it is miraculously healed, and he realizes the value of his human nature. To repay him for its kindness, the bird gives him a lift on its back. Nabe just sits back and watches on a screen as the students fight for their survival. Muscle Man has decided not to use his brain, if he even has one, and goes through the valley's toughest and most dangerous part. He is faced with difficult terrain and a number of demon monsters that are totally kicking his ass. He remembers his goal to become the next demon king and summons a mega weapon from his magical necklace. The monster in front of him is 10 times his size, and his puny little weapon gets tossed away like a piece of paper on a windy day. Muscle Man is about to be wiped off the face of the planet when Aruma drops in from the sky like the hero in an action movie. He stands in front of him even though his body could be crushed with minimal effort by the monster, but his newly made bird friend stops the monster from attacking them. He still tries to attack, but Aruma urges him to throw away the weapon so the monster does not feel threatened. The plan works and backs away from them, allowing them to get back to the race. Asmodeus and Clara are the first two students to finish the race, and slowly the other students make it to the finish line. No one has seen Aruma and Muscle Man, and they all wait for them, wondering how the two best students have not shown up yet. The teacher decided to end the class after a lot of time had passed, since it was highly unlikely that anyone else survived. They hear a loud screeching sound from the sky and see the giant black bird flying toward them. Nabe quickly starts chanting a spell to attack the demon bird, but is cut off as Iruma calls to them. The bird had allowed the two of them to ride on its back to the finish line. His face turned pale in disbelief, seeing two students having tamed such a dangerous monster. They are greeted by cheers and hugs from their classmates. Since they did not complete the race on their own, they are punished and made to wear shame signs while kneeling on the ground. The other students laugh and throw rocks at them before lining up to receive their ranks. Asmodeus and Clara receive a rank of 3, while Muscle Man gets a rank 2 for almost dying. When Iruma goes to draw his rank, the owl flutters away but leaves behind a golden ring on his finger. The class is shocked to see this since it is one of the predictions in the prophecy for the next Demon King. They are afraid of him and step back when they see a black spirit rise from his ring. The spirit lets out a deathly scream, making all the demons fall and cry in pain. Iruma calms it down, but Muscle Man triggers it again and gets beaten up by it for stepping too close. It drains off the powers and creates illusions, making it hard for even the teacher to handle it. Sullivan steps in and stops Nade from pulling any drastic move. He uses his expertise and sends the spirit back into the ring. The special ring is a weapon that eats up other people's magic and stores it for the wearer. Once worn, it cannot be taken off, so even though he did not have any magic of his own, he could now use this stored-up magic. Since the owl left without ranking him, he receives the lowest rank but is happy with it. Rumors about his weirdness are floating around the school and he just wants to maintain a low-key profile. Iruma's desire to not stand out is completely ignored by his grandpa and friends as they constantly make him the center of attention. He heads inside the school and attends the botany class, which is being taught by Ms. Elf. Their first assignment is to use magic to imagine a flower and grow it from the sapling provided to them. The students take turns creating different types of plants and flowers based on their own vivid imaginations. Some create weird plants and get low grades, whereas others, like Asmodeus, grow elegant and beautiful plants with their powers. Iruma has no magic of his own but still jokingly tries to cast the spell. His grandfather had filled his ring with magic, which gets activated once the spell is cast. However, there was no output limit on the magic from the ring, so the cherry blossom plant that he imagined blew up into a gigantic tree, breaking through the roof of the school. The tree adds beauty to the school and allows the students a new hangout spot. Miss Elf praises him for his work as he helps clean up some of the mess. The student council president, Amelia, is one of the few demon students who has researched the earth and the existence of humans. When she sees the tree created by Iruma, she realizes it is one that only exists in the human world and could not have been created by someone who hasn't seen Earth. She begins suspecting him of being a human, pretending to be a demon. She takes her theory and opens a secret gateway in her office, where she has collected evidence of the existence of humans. The books, mostly comics and mangas, have been passed down to each generation in the family and contain several forbidden texts that record activities in the human world. She runs into him in the hallway and remembers a scene from the comic. It confirms her suspicions of his true nature, but decides to report him to the proper authority instead of directly dealing with him. When he sees the book, he picks it up and goes through the pages, remembering his time on Earth. Seeing that he understands the language in it, she drags him to her office and makes him read out the story for her. By the time they're done, the sun has already set outside, and his phone was filled with missed calls from his grandfather. She asks him to stay in touch but not tell anyone of their interaction. Before leaving for school the next morning, Opera asks if he wants to return to the human realm. He tells him that if he works hard and achieves a high rank during graduation, he will be able to visit Earth whenever he wants. Even though he is tempted at first, he remembers his terrible, poor life before and how much better he is living now, which makes him wary of leaving. He hears his grandfather pulling up the carriage to drop him to school and runs out quickly to avoid him. Asmodeus and Clara are already waiting for him outside and ask if he's running to keep himself active. He spends most of the day replaying the conversation in his head to try and come up with some sort of decision. His friends notice a difference in his behavior and confront him, but he gets up and leaves for a walk alone. After a little while, the clingy friends follow him to see what he was up to. They search high and low for him but cannot find him anywhere, so they go to the warden and borrow special glasses that can help them disappear and make their search easier. They catch him in a different part of the school waiting by a door. They are confused by his behavior and make up assumptions about why he could be hiding there. Iruma had received a message from Amelia to meet her there without anyone knowing. She had been constantly thinking about the comic books and wanted him to continue telling her the story. They start talking about their dreams and ambitions, and she mentions wanting to create a better world for her fellow demons. From outside the window, Clara desperately tries to enter the room, but he holds her back and chases her when she runs away. He believes Iruma is doing something beyond their understanding and must be left alone to deal with it. They continue their conversation about dreams, and he struggles to come up with anything. She tells him even if he hasn't thought of one yet, he should think of something and work towards it. He still can't come up with anything, so she tells him to take rising the academic ranks as a temporary goal. Their conversation is cut short when Clara bursts into the room through the wall. She grabs him and drags him with them. All three of them find it difficult to fall asleep that night as they keep thinking about everything that happened in school. Clara is jealous about another girl hanging out with him. She wants him to herself without having to share his time. Muscle Man advises her to use her demon powers to get what she wants. During the next class, the students are busy selecting their electives. Clara decides to take a class in manipulation so she can learn ways to make Aruma fall in love with her. She hopes this will stop him from spending so much time with the student president, Amelia. Her attempts fail terribly, and the teacher advises her to drop out of the class since she isn't cut out for it. For her last try, she takes a special perfume that works as a love spell to use on him. But after they sit together in the park and talk, her confidence is restored, and she decides to stop using tricks to make him fall for her. This, of course, makes her a lot more attractive, and he starts thinking of her more than he did before. Still, his main concern right now was to rise up the ranks and achieve the goal that was set for him. He approaches Asmodeus with his goal, and he promises to help him reach the top of the ranks and rule over the whole school. But Iruma only wants to rise one rank for now. Respecting his wish, he agrees to help him with training. There is a special event in the school called Cannonball Execution. This gives students a chance to rise up the ranks, but is a dangerous event that needs strong magic. The game is similar to dodgeball, and the aim of the players is to catch the ball and eliminate the other players on the other side of the net by hitting them with a deadly ball. They decide to practice the basics of the game on a court with fake players that Clara takes out of her pocket. The other students see them playing and join in. Everyone casts different spells to deflect the ball and protect themselves, but Iruma soon realizes that the game may be too tough for his weak human self. He asks his grandfather to help him train for the event. Sullivan transfers magic to his ring, which he is able to use to break through the boulders and summon ice dragons, but Iruma wants to play without the help of magic. He then casts a spell to strengthen his fragile arms and leaves the physical training to his assistant Opera. He brings in a whole cart of balls to train with and starts throwing them at him. Just like before, he is able to dodge all the attacks easily, but this will not be enough if he wants to win. He must also learn to catch the ball and throw it at the other players. For a nerd like him, this level of physical activity was a bit out of reach, and weeks pass by, but he still isn't able to catch a single ball. Clara and Asmodeus also join the lessons to cheer him on. Finally, after a lot of training, exercise, and nutritious food, he strengthens his body and is able to deflect the ball at least. With just a few days left for the event, his training intensifies and Iruma catches his very first ball. Opera and Sullivan believe he is ready to take part in the competition and watch as the group of friends rest under a tree. On the morning of the event, Opera gives him some important advice and tells him not to fear his enemy no matter what, since that would be the first sign of defeat. They head to the school and gather in the cave to listen to the instructions before the match. Nave hands out the armbands to divide the students into two teams, and Iruma and Asmodeus end up on different sides, leaving everyone shocked since they always stick to each other. He tries to protest it and gets frustrated since he will not be able to help his friend. But the teacher says the teams were divided to balance out the power and no changes would be made. The game begins and the students take their places. Iruma is able to dodge the attacks and catch the ball but has no skill to throw it. Muscle Man steps in and sees that Asmodeus is lost in his own thoughts. He takes the opportunity to hurl the ball at him, which he catches with just one hand, leaving everyone stunned. Without giving him much time to react, he power throws the ball back at him and eliminates him from the game. One after the other, the students get hit and are eliminated until it's just the two friends standing opposite each other. This is about to be the showdown of the week. Asmodeus considers allowing his friend to win equals end, but then remembers his morals and decides against it. He channels all of his strength and erupts into a giant flame. Seeing his opponent so strong and terrifying makes him want to run away in fear, but he remembers the words of Opera and stands his ground. He takes aim and launches the ball of fire at him. Iruma charges and stretches out his hands to catch the bowl, but the force is too strong and he gets dragged back. Using this to his advantage, he Kung Fu Pandas his way out of it and turns with the ball before shooting it back and defeating him. The students cheer and throw him into the air to praise him for his insane win, while Amelia and a few other teachers who had just arrived stand in awe of their students. The teacher promotes him to the second rank for his achievement and sends everyone home. The student president also congratulates him on rising the rank, and he blushes from all the praise. After celebrating at home, he falls asleep with a huge smile on his face. The classes continue, and a new teacher, a sissy green goblin, shows up to take the class. He specializes in training magical pets, also known as familiars. The class takes place outside the forest, and everyone summons their pets. Asmodeus calls upon his giant white snake, and right after, Muscle Man shows off his horse dragon beast. Both pets are some of the highest rankings in strength. Clara summons her gremlin, which happens to be a very rare find. Unfortunately, it controls her and makes her do its bidding. She runs around and brings it food on demand. After everyone has presented their pets, the teacher asks Aruma to call his familiar, but he hesitates since he does not want to summon Nabe, his teacher, and cause trouble. But the Green Goblin insists and forces him. With not much choice left, he summons the pet, and Nabe is teleported from his chair to their class in the form of an owl. He yells at him to send him back, but disobeying his master causes him to get shocked as per the rules. The Green Goblin decides they must continue this way since the lessons should not be disrupted. Nabe sits down with him and allows him to use him for the class as long as he scores the highest marks in every assignment. He swallows his pride and takes part in all the tasks so that they can get good scores. To end the lessons, Nabe steps in and scolds them all for underestimating their pets and not treating them with respect. He warns them that even though they can't disobey their masters, they can always become violent and harm others around them. To prevent this, the students must fear them and treat them with dignity and not just as subordinates. They sit in the cafeteria after class when a group of girls charge at them and drool over Asmodeus. When they see that Iruma has also achieved a higher rank, they try to drag him away, but his friends push them and save him. After they leave, he asks why the cafeteria is so empty. Asmodeus tells him about the clubs in school where many students spend their extra time. These different clubs help raise one's ranks and learn specialized skills, and today the leaders of all these clubs would be recruiting freshman students. Iruma thinks about his goal and decides to join one such club to fast-track his progress. The ground rumbles as the seniors barge in through the doors, trying to get to the rookies first. Everyone wants the best students to apply to their clubs. They go about it very violently, and Asmodeus is forced to cast a ring of fire around them to protect them from being picked up randomly. The crowd falls silent when Amelia walks in along with other members of the student council. She breaks up a fight and then heads straight to Iruma to hand him a flyer urging him to join the council. Since they almost never take applications, such an action was very rare. He takes the flyer and watches them walk away. The students head back to class, where they are instructed to attend the club exhibition over the next 3 days to make a final decision about where they will be applying. The club leaders target Iruma and Asmodeus, as they are top-performing students, but they burn away the flyers. Iruma suddenly feels a tug on his hand and is suddenly pulled by his ring through the crowd for a long distance. He crashes into another student with a huge bag and thinks he injured him, but he gets up and apologizes for the mess. 100 different things lie on the floor as he explains that the attraction of the ring could have been to his neckpiece, which was made of the same material. The nerd boy uses it to store magic since his powers aren't very strong. He leaves without any further explanation. The three friends continue exploring different clubs through the lab, library, and other rooms until the end of the day. Once he reaches back home, his grandfather alters his ring so he can adjust the intensity of magic emerging from it. After some more exploring the next day, he gets an invitation from the sports club to join them. Meanwhile, Amelia messages him too and urges him to be part of the student council. But his thoughts are interrupted when the wall near him explodes and he runs in with Nerd Boy again. He passes out, and when he regains consciousness, he explains that he messed up a magical potion that created the explosion. He runs his own club, of which he is the only member. Just like Iruma, he too lacks magic and has to use external sources to survive. However, every time he draws on it, his body weakens and takes time to regain strength. He has been working on a special machine that can draw magic and expand it on command. A piece of it was broken, so he used his previous experience in fixing appliances to put it back together. They then placed it in the machine and watched it come to life. He offers him an invitation to be part of his club. He reunites with his friends and tells them about everything that just happened. They decide to follow him and join the club, which makes Amelia upset since she had spent a lot of time preparing his welcome into the club. He explains the situation to her, and after a lot of talking, she calms down. The school arranges for a parent-teacher meeting and a club party for all the freshers. He waits for his grandfather to return home so they can plan everything together. However, unbeknownst to him, Sullivan was attending a meeting with other high-ranking demons. They suggest he takes the place of the Demon King, but he declines since he does not want to lose time with his grandson. The position of the Demon King still remains vacant, and the prophecy is yet to be fulfilled. They end the meeting when police officials enter the room and arrest him for having illegally traveled to the human realm. He is placed behind bars until his trial. He calls home and instructs Opera to take care of Iruma and that he will be back very soon. In his absence, Nabe is appointed as the principal and is in charge of all the preparations for the upcoming family day at school. The students excitedly discuss who they would be bringing and prepare themselves to impress the families. Each club puts up a stall and presents unique items at the fest. They help Nerdy Boy carry the equipment to the ground to set up their club's stall, which is very tiny compared to all the other magnificent spaces given to clubs. They decide to try and come up with an invention that would use fire and explosions while also displaying the beauty of magic and their skills. Iruma remembers fireworks from Earth and suggests they do a show that would not only be entertaining but also grab everyone's attention and use all of their skills. They agree and make all the preparations needed for the show. Nerd Boy was in charge of arranging for gunpowder but gets confused with the process from there since they've never actually seen fireworks. Iruma remembers the comic books and goes to Amelia to borrow one of the books so he can show them the photo. She gets angry when she hears his requests since the books are forbidden and cannot just be handed out like that. He tells her he will be discreet, and they just want to use it to recreate the fireworks from the book. This tempts her since she, too, would love to see them in real life, so she suggestively leaves the comic book on the table so he can take it. He thanks her and returns to his friends, who see the photos and spend the rest of the day building the different parts to make the fireworks. They finally test it out, and it shoots up and lights up the sky, leaving them mesmerized. They sleep over at the school itself since it is already very late and pillow fight with each other. After they are exhausted from all the playing around, they go to bed, but Nerdy Boy leaves the room to attend a suspicious call. It turns out the weak little demon was not so innocent after all and has been working towards destroying the school along with his evil brother. The club festival begins and the prizes for the best clubs are announced. The winning team would receive a luxurious room for the rest of the year and a rank promotion to all the club members. They finish setting up their firework at the stall so they can be ready once it gets dark. Nerd Boy slips away and enters a secret room in the school where he finalizes the plans with his brother. He prepares the giant machine which will be used as a bomb during the festival to blow up the school and its students. He is surprised to see Iruma in the room. He was dragged there by the ring. He remembers that he is a lot like him and thinks about telling him his real plan, but for now, to answer his questions, he lies that he came up there just to calm his mind and mentally prepare for the fest. He shows him the view out of the one-sided window and tells him it is his dream to one day eradicate the power gaps between demons that are purely based on ranking and magical strength. He dreams of a world where everyone is equal and no one is looked down upon. A very ambitious and possibly stupid plan, if I may add. Iruma tells him they can start by successfully launching their firework and attempting to win the best club prize since it would shine a light on the value of machine work over just magic. It would also prove that weak, lower-ranking demons are just as capable as the higher clubs. They return to the stall after he promises to keep this room a secret. Clara has spent her time decorating the firework with flowers and soft toys. Now all they have to do is wait for the families to arrive so they can display their club's spectacular work. Nerdy Boy disappears again and waits in his secret hideout to keep a watch over the fest. The three friends decide to go and scout out the competition and see what their classmates are up to. Their biggest competitor is Muscle Man's club, as they are planning to showcase the use of magic to draw out water from a rock. Several other fierce clubs have prepared mind-blowing presentations, but for now, they all enjoy the festivities and share food and drinks with each other. Asmodeus takes them back to their stall, where they go over the plan one last time when the sun sets. Clara would take a flame of fire from him and give it over to Iruma, who would light their biggest firework and set off their presentation. After that, they will keep lighting smaller fireworks to keep everyone's attention towards their stall and hopefully win the grand prize at the end. During their discussion, she accidentally sets the rope on fire and they fear that the firework will go off, but when it does not light up, they see that the main explosive inside is missing. Nerd Boy had stolen and taken it with him. They anxiously look for him all over the school but cannot find him anywhere. The sun begins setting, and he is instructed to set the plan in motion. He breaks his necklace, which releases a shockwave of magic and creates invisible walls all over the campus. The students are trapped and cannot move freely, and Iruma gets separated from his two friends. The teachers spread out quickly to handle the situation and prevent the students from panicking or causing a riot. They find out that not all the walls are connected, and they can be walked through like a maze, so they instruct the students to find their way through the walls to a common meeting ground for a special surprise. While the students find their way to a safer place, Nabe tries to break down the wall, but sees that it fixes on its own. Only someone with top-ranking power, like Sullivan, would be able to tear it down completely. He now understands that the principal had been wrongfully accused and put into prison so that this whole plan could be executed. He heads straight to the document room to get more information about who could be behind all this. The three friends are trying to find a way out when Iruma remembers the time Nerdy Boy had shown them his invisible barrier trick and realizes that this was his doing. He knows the location of the secret room where Nerdy Boy would be hiding, but it will take forever to make his way through the walls. Clara whips out a sheet of paper from her magic pockets and Asmodeus draws out the map of the school. She then pulls out paper soldiers that he covers in magic, and they run ahead to find a suitable way. Iruma connects with him over Bluetooth and follows his instructions to reach the secret room quickly. Inside, he has set up the destruction machine with the fireworks explosive and waits for further instructions to blow it. Iruma makes his way inside the room and is greeted by him. He admits to his plan and shows him the giant machine with the explosive. Nerdy Boy reveals that he was born into a well-known family that specializes in invisible magic. It was found that he did not possess as much magical powers as the others, so he was sent to a special boarding school. He suffered a lot of torture from the teachers and bullies, but managed to make one very close friend. She showed him her earrings, which were precious to her as they had been with her for many years. The bullies caught them and stole the earring, teasing them and throwing it off the cliff. For a moment, he managed to break away from them and cast a spell to hold the earring, but it wasn't strong enough and the glass shattered, causing it to fall into the river below and be lost forever. He turned to see her face streaming with tears, and instead of feeling guilty and upset about the situation, he realized he enjoyed looking at someone being miserable. This took a bit of a dark turn for sure. Ever since then, he was recruited by a group of extremist demons, and it has been his mission to bring destruction to the world and see people suffering. He's excited to see Iruma's face of despair when his friends are killed in the explosion that is about to take place. But to his surprise, he gets up from the ground with a blank expression. After going through sorrow all his life, he no longer feels despair or sadness for anything, and even now, his only focus is to fix the situation instead of dealing with emotions. Nerdy Boy watches in shock as he climbs up the machine and carries the firework explosive that is about to be set off. He makes use of his grandfather's powers through the ring and jumps out of the window before launching it into the sky, but the power is not enough due to the barriers, and he is forced to break his promise and unleash the highest level of power to break the barrier. The firework explodes and leaves a beautiful trail of light in the sky as the students watch in awe and amazement. He passes out on a roof from all the magic being drained, and even though his plans were ruined, Nerdy Boy acknowledges that Iruma is a better demon than him. He saves him from there and takes him to his grandfather. Sullivan had been released from jail after Nabe sent a magic arrow to the jail to clear all the misunderstandings. He used his powers to save the school building from being destroyed by the fire. Nerdy Boy is arrested by the teachers and sent to Demon Border Control for his crimes. All the families arrive at the school, and the students continue their celebrations and the club fest. After a long, eventful day, the teachers and guests cast their votes for the presentations. The prize for the best club goes to another team, and Iruma and his friends stand disappointed. Nabe then comes up onto the stage and announces that as a special reward for saving the school, they have decided to award Iruma by giving him a rank promotion. Everyone cheers as he receives his prize. In just a few months, he has gone from being a miserable little boy with the worst luck to being a beloved grandson and friend to so many. He appreciates how his life has changed for the better, and before leaving, he takes a photo with his grandfather and opera to always remember this day.